Hello, this is William Moore. I want to thank you for joining us in this special training. We're going to be talking about probably one of my favorite subjects, which is taprooting. Now, why is it my favorite? Because this can be a technique that can be used when you're talking about trying to build a super hierarchy. So many times when people get into network marketing, they focus all their energies on maybe the first couple of recruits that get in this business. And they don't recognize that the person that you immediately bring in may not be the person that's going to really build this business. What you may have to do is you may have to go through that person to actually find the individual that's going to really do it big. How do you do that? Well, you do it through taprooting. So for the next few minutes, we're going to talk about this incredible tool that any part-timer, I call it the part-timer's dream, because when you know exactly how to build a business and some of the steps you got to take, you can have magic in your organization. One thing I want people to understand that a recruit is not a recruit until he or she has a recruit. And so a new person really isn't anchored into the business until he or she has become trained and certified, become a crusader for your products and made some sales, but also has recruited a new person. So one of the things I want to do is I want to get a person off fast. And this is why we talk about generating a list. We talk about knowing what buttons to push, or the personality traits. What aspects of your opportunity may appeal to that person. Because you want to get that new person anchored as quickly as possible. And the only way to do that is by helping that person get a new recruit. Now, we also want to know is that a leg is not a leg until it's at least 4 levels deep. This is where people miss it. You see, they work all their time to get an initial recruit, and then they stop. They don't recognize that what you want to do is you want to create a leg. And a leg has to be at least 4 levels deep. So if you see this little example we have here, this person went 4 wide, which is not bad. But look at recruit number 4. You see, number 4, what he did was he got a recruit A, and then he helped A get B, then he helped B get C, and then he helped C get D. What's happening? A team is now being built. Because think of it this way, how many folks do you see over there? See, originally he had 4, but then he went out and got 4 more people for a total of 9 people in this person's organization. That's not bad. But what he understood is that he had to start developing legs. So what does he do? Well, he has to do that for recruit number 1. And look at recruit number 2. 2's got A, but now we got to help A get what? Get B, and then C, and D, and over again. Same thing for 3, same thing for 5. So what happens if recruit number 4 drops out? Well, we still got A, B, C, and D to work with. And so now a team will have a life of its own once it finds a leader. Your leader will continue to recruit, train, and develop teams while you build in other areas. The leader ensures that the team will have a life of its own. So in other words, a leader will emerge when you're going through this process. Because remember, the initial recruit may not be the leader. The leader may be someone that's deep. But what's happening is because the leader is now duplicating the process and developing and recruiting and training leaders, what's going to happen is this is going to create a lot of excitement. Now, what are some of the benefits of taprooting? Well, as I mentioned before, it builds excitement from under that pushes energies up to the surface. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't know why a brown cow can eat green grass and produce white milk. I just know the milk tastes good. So I'm not trying to figure it out. But what I do know is that if somebody came into the business and maybe it wasn't really happening for them because they're not trained or they weren't really buying into the system which your company is offering. However, because you went and got some folks under that person, and now they're producing, what it does is it just pushes excitement. Now the person realizes, oh, there is something here in this opportunity. Maybe I should stick around a little more. This will also increase your business volume. Remember, every person that's being brought into the business, is also probably generating a sale, and the sale is off of themselves. So if you have 4 or 5 people generating sales off themselves and they're under you, guess what? You got 5 sales. Also is going to increase income and increase the number of people accountable to you. See, one of the things that I learned a long time ago by my mentor is that you want to keep taprooting until the leader tells you to stop. And so if I was working with A, and then I help A get B, and then I help B get C, and then D, and then E, look how many people are now accountable to me or to the leader. That means that I now got 5 separate individuals who are working with me because they recognize I'm building their business. also helps you build a new markets and creates overlapping leaders. Now, I was very fortunate that in my biggest organization, I had 7 leaders under each other. In other words, these people would develop, which means is that, the initial person that I got really wasn't a leader. But then I got somebody. Matter of fact, let's show in the next slide. We'll show you an example. Because we talk about the power of one. See, in the process of searching for a leader, you can increase your base shot by going wide first, then field training deep and earning thousands of dollars in the process. You see, our motto is always wide or die. And it doesn't really matter what's your marketing strategy. You may be working off of a hybrid. You may be working off of a binary. It doesn't matter which one you're working off of. The key thing is, or you could be working off of a unilateral. But see, it doesn't matter, because in any strategy that your company is offering has a thing for going wide. Okay? Whether it's wide in a unilateral setting or a hybrid where you can place volume, or you're working off of both sides, you still have to go wide in those strategies. The also good thing about it is that if you're field training deep, that means field training means you're showing people how to get recruits. And then you're going to be developing a leader so that person can actually pick up the process. Okay, and here's an example of what I mentioned earlier about some of my strongest leaders that I had. When I first got involved, I worked with a gentleman, his name was Chuck. And what I did was I helped Chuck get Joe. Joe was one of my first strong leaders in the organization. And then I worked with Joe to get a guy named Al. Al became another one of my strongest leaders. I worked with Al to get a guy named Sam. And then I worked with Sam to get with Teresa. And Teresa became one of my biggest leaders. But look what I did. What if I just put all my hopes and aspirations on Chuck? That means I never would have found Joe, never would have got Al, never got Sam, never would have got Teresa. So in understanding that, that's what you want to do. You want the power of building deep by constantly working and going deep as you're trying to find that leader. But the good thing about it is all these people, as you see, joined our team, got services, they did some sales. Volume was being generated. Money was being earned. A lot of excitement. Chuck was very excited about what was happening on his team under him because he recognized this is not what I do. See, this was my expertise. So I said, okay, Chuck, I tell you what, just refer me to some people and kind of get out the way, and I'll build you an organization. Well, when I met with Joe already had some experience. He said, hey, man, I know exactly what you're doing. However, I'm not quite ready yet. I said, no problem. I'll continue the process. So by the time some of these leaders were actually ready to start field training people, they literally had hundreds of people under their organization producing, making income from them, and allow them to keep on with the process. And so really, in closing, one of the things we want to say is you want to continue the field training process. Make sure you take each leg at least 4 levels deep. Statistically, one of those recruits will be committed and want to build a business. And in conclusion, you always want to go wide and field train deep. I hope this information on taprooting was useful to you. I know it's been very useful to me throughout my career. It's something that when it was explained to me and I fully understood, as I just ran with it. And I teach other people to do the same thing. So this is William Moore signing off. Hope you enjoyed the training. We're looking forward to seeing you at our next live event.